Welcome to Everything Rodeo, where we separate champions from the rest of the crowd.
We'll take you down the trail of someone's life, a long-haul tour rodeo, and our everyday adventures.
So brace yourself,
Because it's fixing to be a wild ride.
we're your hosts,
Mace Renfrey.
and Cody Stanley.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Everything Rodeo Podcast. This is day number 9 here at the Downtown Christmas Expo at the Plaza Hotel and Casino.
Day 9 and feels like 99. Today we got some special guests with us, the Tolleson-Mack Podcast, the Brandons. Brandon 1 and Brandon 2.
Welcome, boys.
Thanks for having us on, man. Don't forget Caesar De La Cruz back there holding it down for us too. He's part of our crew.
Yeah,
Gotcha.
oh, Caesar.
Yeah, we had a lot of podcasts lined up, so we told Caesar, we said, hey, you got to do this. We're going to run over because we watch your guys' podcast. I'm like, I got to go there and be on that podcast.
Yeah.
Appreciate you
You're
guys.
not allowed to come. I'm going.
Yeah, see you later.
How'd you guys end up finding us?
Yeah, just YouTube.
Yeah.
YouTube?
Yeah, YouTube, and then everybody. I mean, everybody, doing the podcast game, they're like, hey, did you see this guy? Did you see that guy? So it's
Yeah, we were talking about that. Who were we talking to about that? About all the podcasts?
Jordan.
Jordan
Weaver.
Jordan Weaver, yeah, because Cody was just on his podcast, Flatbed Podcast, and then we were on Rump Chat a couple days ago, but we were just talking about,
cool.
with Clay, with Starched, and there's so many podcasts. Luke Branquino's
I feel like when we got into it last February, there was only like 3 big rodeo podcasts, and then like 6 months into it, when we started picking up, there's like everybody got into it, and I don't see a problem with it. I love it.
Yeah.
I think the more rodeo podcasts we have, the Western podcasts that we have, the more people that's going to be able to see it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
for sure. I don't really have a problem with it because, I guess unless if you're doing it for your only job and it becomes a competition, then you might have some problem with that. But we got real jobs and we're doing it for fun, and we enjoy doing it. We travel all over the place. So.
Yeah.
It's like I say all the time, it's our therapy. To get going, we have a little studio, so we try to hit that up like twice a week and maybe do 2 or 3 a week if we can. And it's just get in there in a couple of hours, and I got an editor, and we got a guy that helps us with our YouTube and stuff like that. And we're trying to do it.
Big shout out to Craig.
Yeah, big shout out.
You guys know how hard that stuff is, and without that guy,
We tell everybody all the
screwed.
time, we're just the talent. We just show up.
we'd
and
be
talk,
screwed.
so.
So you do video as well as audio, okay.
Yeah.
So are you on all platforms then?
Yeah.
Or?
Mm-hmm.
Cool.
Yeah.
Spotify,
Yeah.
Amazon,
Apple.
Apple Podcast, all that good stuff.
Yeah, are we on Apple?
I don't think so. Apple,
yet.
no, but we're on the 3 of them. I know.
Yeah.
I don't know which 3.
Oh.
You guys,
I don't have any
You guys
social
need
media.
Buzzsprout.
What's that?
Buzzsprout.
Buzzsprout.
It literally uploads it to everything except YouTube. So
wow.
you upload it to
Just audio,
Buzzsprout.
anything audio
Yeah.
that gets uploaded. is
Oh,
awesome.
really? That's cool.
We'll check
Yeah,
that out.
makes it a lot easier.
So explain what Tolleson-Mack is, how you guys started. Explain the name too.
So
Go
I'll
ahead,
just
buddy.
go. So I have this my house, and I built it, and Caesar would come over and help me rope all the time, and he was always telling me stories about the Thomas-and-Mack, So I live in Tolleson, so I was like, man, I'm gonna call this the Tolleson-Mack. So that was we had some roping at the house and stuff like that. So on the flyers, I always put Tolleson-Mack and stuff like that, and I got to know quite a few of these pros guys coming through, and they buy hay and stuff like that, and one thing led to another, and we were talking about maybe having a podcast, and I talked to Caesar about it, and we're just trying to. I'm not a really good talker too. I kind of do more behind the scenes stuff. I don't really get on camera that much, but if anybody knows Mr. Shelton here, he's the man for the talking for sure. So with Caesar's,
I don't know if that's a good
Can't
thing or a
shut him
bad
up.
thing,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
so with Caesar's connections, and Caesar does a hell of a good job. He's a pro at doing these interviews and stuff. So between Caesar and Brandon, and then I just kind of put it together, and then so I called these guys and I said, hey, I want to do a podcast, and it's kind of a when I had roping steers. I still do. I do ropings, and I did a lot of pro rodeos, so I got to know quite a few guys.
Yeah.
I'm like, what takes some advantages of some of these connections that we already have and talk to them. And we were just going to do 2 a month. That was our plan. There were 15 days, do 2 a month. And just for our personal, just have it. We can look back and say we talked to so-and-so. And just like anything else, we started really getting going and rolling on it. And you start buying better equipment, this and that, and wanting to do better. And so that's kind of where we're at now. And we've went to Oklahoma, and we went to Prescott. We quite a few places, and we're just having fun with it, I think.
Yeah, I think going to Oklahoma was really cool for us. We went up there to that rope horse fraternity and stuff, and we really liked it. And we we had been doing podcasts for a while, but that really gave us a taste of kind of getting out a little bit and doing it. And, the reason I agreed to doing it, obviously, whatever, I'd do anything for this guy. We've been buddies forever, but was just the fact it kind of still keeps you in the game without having to be in the game. You know what I mean? Like, you get to hang on the sidelines, but you get to talk to some really cool people. Like, what are the chances I'm ever going to talk to Fred Whitfield?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, maybe in passing, but to sit down and have a good conversation with them, probably not. And then when they leave, like Kincaid Henry, his number's in my phone. He calls me if he's having a bad day or if, just wants to talk going down the road. You make some cool friends doing this thing.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah,
like
we've had a lot of people. Our studio's in the crawl space, so they actually come over to the house.
Perfect.
We've been able to go have dinner and get to know some people.
Yeah.
And just having them in the house in the crawl space, it's like
Yeah, that's cool.
having them in your studio is like super cool.
When you guys did that deal with the Cody O, that whole thing, that was cool. That was really
cool. I did like that. Yeah, that was
intimate
neat.
setting like that, and being able to have that conversation like you did in his house, like
Right.
that was.
Yeah, I think that was
top
that
notch.
was really
right
cool.
there.
Yeah, that was kind of a tough deal because just with everything, I mean, if you guys know, bringing all your equipment, we had everything set up, like spread across this whole living room, our lighting set up. We had a light go out, the mics, we didn't check audio for the cameras. It just, whenever you're setting up, you feel so rushed.
Yeah.
I don't know why, for me at least.
That's
I got to take a second to take a breather. Okay, is everything good? Because in that interview, you can tell the mic was messed up the first part. And then the second time after we reset the cameras, I was like, crap.
Also, it's not just us then, huh?
Yeah.
That's everybody.
No, we
Everybody
literally learn something like every day.
Yeah.
It's like, and I'm starting like, all right, guys. Like this morning, we had to go do an interview with Luke Branquino, and I was like, no, we're leaving it this time because I want enough time to like set stuff up. I'm not rushing.
Even
no more.
with time though, like something's bound to go wrong.
Something's
There's just
like
too much.
you're not going to have the right cable or this end's going to pop off.
Yeah.
We was in Texas and doing interviews, and luckily there was a music store like 30 minutes from the place I was, and I made it there and back in like 40 minutes.
How far was the one in Prescott? Because we had to do the same thing. We show up, we need 4 mics, we have 3 mic stands.
Yeah.
It's like, and you got to rush down there. But I really like your guys' podcast and some of the other ones, Jordan's and stuff, because it gives you a different perspective on these guys going down the road.
Yeah, I think we can all ask, we can all interview the same person.
Right.
And it's going to be a different outcome every time.
Absolutely.
Yeah, like, I mean, I'm in the beef industry, right?
Mm-hmm.
So when I want to talk to these guys kind of about that side of it, because I found out yesterday that Caleb Schmidt, lives on a feedlot.
Yeah.
I never knew that. Yeah. So there's different questions I can ask, and then you're right, like somebody else might not. So it's for that, it's really cool.
Yeah, we've had conversations that have gotten pretty deep. We've had conversations that some people don't hardly want to talk at all.
Yeah.
So it's
We got some that never came out. You know what I mean? So
Yeah,
we
we've had a couple we've had to put away for
couple.
different reasons. Yeah, but we also interview sports athletes.
Yeah.
Right. So like we bring on some Major League Baseball players because we kind of got a little in because of spring training right there in Arizona.
Oh, yeah.
And a lot of these guys like the Western lifestyle, and we can kind of do that with them. But we had one with a guy named Shea Hillenbrand, and if you ever watch it, it's all three of us just sitting there staring at Shea Hillenbrand because that dude is going off.
He don't say nothing for like 45 minutes, so you know something's up.
Yeah, I mean, this guy's known me for 40 years, and that's the longest I've ever been quiet.
A little backstory about that. So Shea Hillenbrand, he was a professional baseball player, 2-time All-Star, like the real deal, played for everybody. When I knew him, he had a feed store, and I'm a hay farmer, so I'd supply him hay. Well, I didn't see this guy for about 10 years, and once I said, man, I'm just going to text him, see if he wants to come on the podcast. Yeah, he said, I'll come. So I don't see this guy for 10 years. I didn't know in that 10 years he had all these hardships and all this stuff. Well, at the time, he became a motivational speaker. So people thought I brought him
He
on.
went full throttle.
Yeah. So they're all looking at me
So you're all like,
yeah, exactly. They're looking at me like, Brandon, what do you do? I said, I had no idea. I had
No,
idea.
and by the time he was done, like I wanted to take over all of Stone Mountain. Like
Yeah.
I mean, it was on to be on. Like
He's
I
ready
mean,
to go.
That guy gets you pumped up. Yeah,
And it felt like, when you're in church, the preacher's talking to you. And I
yeah.
was just like, yeah, I know.
Yes, sir.
You're like,
Yes, sir.
I
will
have
change.
been
I will
doing
change
wrong.
right now, sir.
I have been doing wrong.
I left there not wanting to cuss or nothing anymore. So
But I mean, this guy make $20 million in the pros. This is stuff you can Google. This ain't some guy fabricating this.
Right.
$20 million in the pros, and then lose it all buying a zoo.
yeah,
really,
Bought a zoo,
Bought a
lost
zoo.
it all.
Dang.
Tried to off himself.
crazy
Didn't
story. You have
pan
to
out.
check it out.
Wow.
It's pretty wild.
Yeah.
And for him, by the time it was done, like I said, I wanted to take it all over. Like I was ready to roll.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to go listen to that one.
Yeah.
I just think it's cool because all of us have our each individual stories, and like
Yeah.
we can somehow you can connect with somebody. You know,
Absolutely.
whether they're in the Western industry or
Yeah.
professional sports industry, whatever it might be. It's like we all have something inside of us that we can like have a conversation about and connect.
You're right about that. Everybody has a story. We were in Prescott, and we had some big name guys lined up, but we had about an hour and a half window right there, and people walking by. It's packed. You know, it's 4th of July, and Brandon calls a couple people, just random people off the street. You want to sit down and do a podcast, and you know, of course, they want to sit down, and that's some of the best stuff. You know, just raw, uncut, and they don't have no idea to plan for it.
How it works or
That's
anything.
cool.
Yeah, we flagged this guy down and we start talking to him and we're like, well, what do you do for a real job? You know, we know you're a rodeo fan and everything. He says, well, he had a big fancy name for it, but basically he was in charge of all howitzer training for all of the United States Army.
Whatever
Oh,
those
wow.
things are.
All of it.
Yeah.
Like, and I mean, when he got done, I was like, man, is that really what you do? Like, and he's like, yeah, and he pulled out all these credentials that, I mean, it was legit.
Yeah.
You just never know who's walking by, you know?
Yeah,
No.
and I mean, the only reason I stopped that guy is he walks by and he had a beer in his hand and he had a holster with another beer in it.
And
And I
you
was
gotta
like, that's
stop
my
that guy.
kind of guy right there, right? That,
Okay, we need to come on a podcast.
Yeah.
like that guy's ready to get down with the get down.
Yeah, that's kind of like with our podcast. I think we like to have some questions, like if we find someone that has kind of a hard time talking, but for the most part, everything is there's no script. Unless we're doing a live show and we want to touch on a couple topics, then we can go into discussion about it. But other than that, just like the open floor where people can just kind of, hey, this is and then it opens up. You get into a deeper conversation, and
That's
it's pretty cool.
point.
What do you guys, since you started your podcast, what do you think is like the one cool moment that sticks out to each one of you?
Mine probably would be getting to watch Cody rope his first calf back.
Oh, yeah.
Like we was there at his house the day before,
That's
dude, and I
legit.
like tears
It was
came
emotional,
to came to my
Yeah, I
eyes,
mean, that's
dude.
the-
I had
that's the
I
man.
had, like freaking cold chills,
Yeah.
dude. It was sweet just because it was like cool to watch because his boy was there like helping him and like man had a towel for him, had his picking string, like
That's awesome.
Yeah, that's
a dude that's been like on our podcast with him. He talked about being like on the top of the mountain and the bottom, and kind of getting to see him emerge from the bottom of the mountain right there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was pretty cool.
Yeah, I'd say for me it's just we have so many people that send us messages that are we do a lot of more not more entertainment, our podcast, but we post videos of us singing and just having a good time and stuff, and we've had people send us messages that are like, man, you guys have no idea, like it's been hard for me to smile the past couple months, and
Yeah.
anytime
That's cool.
stuff
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
that makes it worth it. It's a
Yeah.
freaking lot of work to
sure.
like set the mics up, and I mean even
Yeah.
this whole deal just to be here, it was just kind of
Absolutely.
on a whim. Me and Cutter were like, let's just freaking do it, so but it's all worth it in the end. Even if it changes one person's life, or we get to meet one person where you have a connection like you do, it's just
It's worth it for the rest of your
Yeah.
life.
I think it's so cool. Yeah, we met this little kid. He was 7 years old, and we were at Lazy E, and we were just walking around like us two and Caesar were walking around. And this little boy's playing with play rope, and I mean he's roping everything. I mean he's the kid that ropes the town dog, right? Like he's roping everything. And I said, Caesar, you should match this kid. I said, I think he can take you. I'll put 100 on that kid. And he's like, I'll match him. So we go over there, and he says, Caesar says to that little kid, you want to match? We'll play inside leg. And this kid puffed his chest out like you ain't never seen before and said, I'll match you. He said, I'll match you. And I said, you know who that is? He says, I don't know who he is, but I'll match him. And I mean, he went to it. And one round he beat Caesar. The other two, Caesar beat him. And we get done, and I said, you sure you don't know who that is? And by then his mom and dad had walked up, and they know who Caesar was. And he says, no, I don't know him. I said, you ever heard of Johnny Ringo, the heel horse? He said, oh, yeah. I said, well, that's the guy that owns Johnny Ringo. He goes, oh, you are Caesar. He says, but he had no idea. But for me, like that was just the coolest thing.
Yeah.
That little kid, you meet these people out, and you get like a renewed sense of America.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like it's still alive and good. You just got to find it.
I'll give
Especially
you
in the Western industry.
I'll give you a backstory about Caesar, how he got on our podcast. I took about 10 years off roping. I didn't rope for 10 years. And when I turned 30, I started roping again. I didn't realize that you can get Cesar de la Cruz or one of these pros to come to your house and give you lessons. Like, I didn't know that was possible. So when I found out that, like, I was like all in, and just like a green guy like me didn't know nothing and went head over heels, and Cesar was there a bunch. You know what I mean? You know, it was price on that. So we became friends over the years, and then you know, we started. Bought a lot of steers, and Cesar would help me break in our steers and do that kind of stuff. And he would always tell me my horse is a lot more famous than me. He would tell me that all the time. But and I watched Cesar a bunch when I was little, and it's true. That horse is a lot more famous than Cesar.
Yeah.
Damn right.
That horse is running barrels now in the Arizona Junior Rodeo Association.
Kicking
That's
ass.
crazy.
Yeah, his kids are riding it, running barrels. But I mean, that's to us the funnest part.
Yeah. So one question that everybody asks us is, like when another podcaster comes on, is what's your favorite episode you did? So what is your guys' favorite episode you guys have done?
You go first.
Man, if I had to pick one, it'd be Dennis Gates. Just because he's the old school G, you know, wild ass mule train. I don't know what all we can say on here, but he was the wild one. But he's in a strong tie with Larry D. Guy,
Yeah.
because talking to her, and I'm a girl dad. I don't have no boys, you know. And talking to her and listening to her talk and being, you know, the whole rope like a girl thing and the whole thing she does. And then, like you guys said, we went to dinner with her, and I talked to her on the phone now and stuff. Dennis is maybe my favorite just because of the Wild West stories, but Larry's running a real close second.
Larry's a legend. I mean, if a guy like Trevor Brazil is going to send his horses to her to get trained,
Let me.
there's something.
Here's you a piece to chop up. This is 100% happened. I'm sitting there with Larry, and we're talking, and we're eating or whatever, and her phone just keeps ringing. She just reaches over there and hits it. And I'm like, man, go ahead and take that call. Whoever's calling really wants to talk. She goes, it's Trevor, and he wants to talk about a horse, and I just don't got time to talk about it. And I thought, if this doesn't show you how big a legend this lady is, she's curbing Trevor Brazil right now.
I just don't want to talk about it.
Yeah, she says, I just don't want to talk about it until I figure out what I want to do with that horse. He wants it.
Yeah, that's funny.
Yeah, she was telling us, you know, that's my best friend. I stayed with him the night before his wedding and everything. I mean, she's just so cool. So that's a tough one for me.
Yeah.
But how about you?
I got to say, my main boy in in Arizona, Tanner Baldwin. I don't know if you guys know who that guy is, but he's a hell of a hand and one of the best horse trainers in Arizona, and a lot of bias. But he stayed with me for 2 years, so when he came on, it was just like, you know, if you want to watch a good one, watch that one. But him, and then we did Cole Davis and at the Lazy E, and Cole's always been one of my favorite, so that was cool. So one of them too.
Do you guys have them come back for a second go around? Have you had people do that?
We've had a couple come back on like twice, but we haven't.
Yeah. So like one of our first episodes, Noah Krebs, he's actually on our team. He'll come back on just because. Yeah. I mean, dude, that if that kid does not fight at the finals, he must have broke both legs and then get cut off.
Right.
He's gonna fight the finals one day. Like he is. No offense to all the guys that's out here right now, but he is the best bullfighter I've ever seen.
Yeah.
And I've seen him in person. I've seen videos of him. Like, a dude's...
He's on it.
Yeah.
He is, yeah.
And just a young kid.
He's in it.
He's 22 years old. Well, he just turned 23.
Yeah.
And, like, he'll be finals.
Yeah, he's good.
That episode you guys had with was it the team roping one, where the guy that had the cattle, and he does a national team roping?
Oh, All-Star?
All-Star team roping.
Yeah.
That was a very interesting one.
Yeah.
I like that one you guys did.
Yeah,
it's
you
cool
guys
to hear the business part of that side of that too.
And I had roping steers. I was heavy into it, and I did like the Mike Survey. I did all the pro rodeos in Arizona, and I got out of it. But I just recently got back into it, not as the scale that I was, but that's just different. Look at same struggles that everybody's having, the same shit. So
yeah. When All-Star Finals comes back, you guys need to come down.
Yeah,
that's
cool.
That's an awesome roping to come to. We'll be set up again there.
We'd love to come down to that and check it out.
I'm roping tomorrow at the South Point, so I'm in podcast mode, and then I'm going back cowboy hat on here.
Is it the 10 tomorrow?
No, tomorrow's the 8.
The 8?
Yes,
oh, heck
sir.
yeah.
Yeah.
You're low enough for roping the 8.
Heck
That's awesome.
I'm excited.
That's big money.
Yeah.
I told him, I said, you win that $300,000, we ain't leaving.
No, it'll be like Wednesday before I get home.
Yeah, we ain't leaving. We can send everybody else home, load the plane and send them, but we might be here for a little while.
That that was the highest paid rope in last year, wasn't it?
I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure it was like
so, yeah.
587,000 or something.
I'm not sure. This is my 5th
You're
year.
like, shut up! I don't want to think about it.
This is my 5th year
What
roping in it.
you heading or heeling in that?
Heeling.
Who you roping with?
Juan Corral. Shout out Juan Corral.
Yeah.
That's my 5th year in a row we've been coming, me and him. So
Nice.
yeah,
This is the year.
we pulled a check not last year but the year before, the consolation. So not too many. I mean, some people can't say they pulled a check out of Vegas. So
Yeah.
that's my fame to shame right there.
There you go.
Yeah, I never pull a check out of Vegas.
Yeah, it's always the other way
No
around.
matter what. Yeah, that's
So-
I kind of feel like I sponsor some of this stuff over
On
here.
your guys', correct me if I'm wrong, is it you've been in the rodeo or you roped for a
Yeah,
while? Or
I've been in the industry since I was a little kid.
And
My
then
dad rode bareback horses and stuff.
Okay.
And from the time I was born till I was about 8 or 9, we wasn't really into it. I raced motocross and stuff till I was about 13.
Yeah.
And my dad laid carpet and stuff like that. And we always had a horse. But then when I was 13, my uncle gave me my first rope horse.
Oh, okay.
And that's when it really started.
Are you back roping then and all that?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
You rope yourself too?
I rope a little bit,
Yeah.
but not.
You're
not
just-
I didn't grow up in it or
Yeah.
nothing like that. So,
I remember listening to your story. I think you mentioned that one time.
Right.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah. Yeah, it's interesting to take both aspects of it. That was kind of our main thing was since I did the video media stuff, we wanted everything rodeo initially was going to be a YouTube channel that we were just going to have team ropers come in, tie down ropers, and then talk about everything rodeo and do like training videos, stuff like that. But then we eventually just was like, let's do a podcast and then we'll take the media with the podcast and stuff. So it's been interesting to see it all come together and in the short couple months. I mean, so we started in February, so it's been cool to see it.
Yeah, it's going to come full circle now because this next year we are going back to we're still going to have the podcast and all that stuff, but we're doing more instructional videos and stuff.
Okay.
Oh, that's cool.
This next year,
Yeah.
for beginners, it's basically going to be rodeo for dummies.
Yeah.
Where you absolutely don't know nothing, you never touched a horse or anything. We're gonna get you over that moat because there's nobody out there that gets you over that moat until you know somebody.
Yeah.
No, you got to know somebody, or you got to have a little in or something.
We want to do some camps too. More just the experience we had riding on Faith. I don't know if you've heard about that or not. It was just a faith-based camp. Randy Katiri's parents put it on, but we went to Locust Grove, and it's just cool to see. It's more so for bullfighting and buck and stock type stuff, but put on some ropings and stuff and get to know get to know more people in the industry and get involved with that kind of stuff.
That's awesome.
Yeah, we just went to our first Extreme Bulls in Prescott, and man, I was so excited to talk to bull riders instead of team ropers, and nothing against team ropers, but they're just a different breed.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And then at the end, we got to bring on all the bullfighters, and I mean,
See, I feel like we're the opposite because all we talk to is bull riders.
oh, dude, all we talk to is
and rodeo personnel.
oh, man.
I mean, we got Caesar as our co-host, so Caesar, that's the easiest to for him to get guests.
He's probably got a bunch of numbers in his phone.
Oh yeah, a bunch. Yeah.
yeah.
And that's why we with Caesar's help. I mean, we've done some. I mean, our first video came out in March 25th to be exact. So we're kind of we're just starting to, and like anything else, you just want to evolve and get a little better and better, and we're trying.
And it's like anything, right? When we started it, you set a goal, right? You say, okay, I want to talk to Trevor Brazil. I want to interview Trevor. Okay, we interviewed Trevor. Now what are we going to do? He says, I want to talk to Fred at the NFR. All right, we talked to Fred at the NFR.
What's the goal now?
What's the goal now?
We're sitting here.
We're sitting here. For sure. I mean, I love this stuff. I love going on other people's podcasts because you guys know the same thing that we go through, right? This thing can go, and slow down, and you're like, oh shit, I got to talk, you know?
Yeah.
So it's kind of fun to come on with guys that know, keep it rolling and stuff like that.
One other little, you talk about, your mics don't work, stuff like that, and the hectic moment part of it. That's why I don't really go on camera much anymore because I'm trying to help the guy behind that deal. I don't know nothing about that, but I kind of have to be a support in a way.
Right.
We show up to Lazy E, and we talked to Trevor the night before, and he said, at 4 o'clock tomorrow, we're going to come up. We had our thing set up at the bar up top.
Man, we were there early.
We had everything set up.
You're saying,
you guys have. Everything set up great. Well, Trevor, we're just walking down the bottom in the morning, and it was 8:30, 9 o'clock, and he goes, hey, my daughter's birthday party's tomorrow at 4:30. I guess he forgot. And he says, I can't do it. And we're all bummed out. He goes, but I'll give you 15, 20 minutes right now. And talk about like. So we just had to throw on the other mics real quick
and do it right at the warm up arena
and hard.
Man.
You know what I mean?
Grab a couple chairs.
Yeah.
And do it.
I was kind of bummed out because we had everything just perfect for him, set up all week, and it worked out. But you just got to roll with it.
You just got to go with the flow. Yeah, kind of going back to what you were saying. I mean, we were horrible on camera in the microphones. Like
we have a video.
Yeah, no.
My wife is filming us at Silent Springs Rodeo. We was there filming the rodeo.
Yeah.
And me and Nace was literally just sitting there trying to talk to each other. Like nobody else, just my wife and her phone. And me and Nace was sitting on the back of the buck and shoots and was like, my name is John.
The video's like 10 minutes long and
Yeah.
we never even got it done.
Yeah.
Just trying to explain what everything rodeo was. So I don't know. It's crazy.
I mean, our lighting, we have a little studio, it was dark in there. We didn't know what these lights were. And
We had
everything.
like plastic table, little thing to start with. You could see everything.
We basically did the same thing. We kind of threw together the crawl space.
Yeah, luckily my boss sponsored us for our first time.
Yeah.
And we bought all the mics and the soundboard and
sweet.
stuff.
That's awesome.
We already had all the cameras and everything, but I mean, we did one podcast with Chinese mics and they was just terrible.
bueno.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, it took me like 16 hours to edit the first video because I had to toy with the audio the whole time. Like
Yeah,
I had
it
to
was
adjust audio
terrible.
and then
he was so mad. He's like, "We're not doing this. We're quitting. Like, I'm not. If it takes this long, we're not doing it."
now
You can tell now that we do podcasts because like me and him have always got each other like really kind of extravagant gifts for Christmas, shit like piss your wife off because you spent too much money on your buddy's gift. And now I get podcast microphones.
Yeah. It's a good
This year, you
gift.
guys gonna get some new lights.
Oh yeah.
I'll buy you one. You buy me one.
Awesome lights right
Yeah, these
here.
are pretty cool.
Really
I
nice.
really like
Yeah.
them. So what's the goal for you guys? I mean, where sky's the limit, or you're gonna get more into team roping?
More so just as for the podcast, just actually going all in. Last year we had a pretty good schedule. We were trying to do podcasts every Tuesday night at the house. We were really good for about 3 months, and then
Or 3 weeks.
life just got kind of
It
in
does.
the way.
That happens. Yeah.
Our goal was to release one per week, and we only have like 27 episodes on top of these little bonus episodes from the NFR. But it's a lot of work with camera, scheduling people, all that stuff. Plus, we do gigs on the side, and Cody's working, and it's getting together is pretty tough. But I'd say this year, just putting more time and effort into the business and trying to get things going to where it keeps growing.
And I don't know about you guys, but like all of your buddies are going to be your critics. They're going to say, you should have this guy, you should do this, you should do that. And I'm like, you know how hard it is just to get somebody to show up on a Tuesday to just even come.
And every one of them acts like they're not watching it until you screw up.
Oh,
and
then
they
they'll
call
tell
you
you,
and
yeah,
tell you where you messed up at.
Yeah, I ain't heard another episode.
Yeah.
Exactly.
It's.
Yeah.
So I again, man, I love doing it. Like this guy's kind of downplaying it a little bit, but he bales a lot of hay.
Yeah.
He baled 2,500 acres of hay a year, 10 times. So I mean, he bales a lot of hay, and like you said, you'll have it set up, and then he'll call me and go, "Man, it's gonna rain." So we got guys coming. We got
It's like
producers.
call everybody to get in the in the hayfield.
Right. Everybody right now needs to get over there. I mean, I don't do that stuff. I used to bale hay for a long time. Now I ranch and we have a little meat deal. But I miss those days of baling, and I don't miss them because of that reason. And it's really hard to schedule. So I'm sure it's the same for everybody. Like you think, like you said, life gets in the way.
Yeah.
Luckily, my team now, I don't got to be there. They handle it. Between him, Caesar, and my brother-in-law Craig does that.
Yeah.
I'm good. So
That's awesome.
Yeah, it works pretty good. Like right now, they're doing them, like we said, Clay Smith over there. So I mean, if you guys want me to, I just thought of this sitting here. Like we should do something maybe next year where we get some team ropers on over there. We'll send them your way, and you can send us some bull riders because
We'll flip-flop 'em.
I'm so tired of talking to team ropers, and nothing against team ropers, but dude, it's like a 30-foot rope and a really good head horse and a really good heel horse and cool.
Cool.
Yeah, but I mean the old school dudes are fun, right? Because they're talking about the old school days before the pro com, and they were having to write everything down, and they were some of the you got to listen
The
to Dennis
iconic
Gates.
picture with Fred on the payphone.
Right on the payphone. Yeah. Let's talk about your guys' booth a little bit because this thing's badass.
Well, thank you.
Yeah, and she's like, they built it like it was no big deal.
Yeah.
Like they just
dude.
like they did it in their no big deal. spare
She was
time.
there a couple days.
Yeah.
Like, yeah.
It all started with power washing this cedar.
Yeah.
That was-
She did give you guys all the props, though. She's like, "Oh yeah, they built it."
Oh, she helped a bunch. She did like all the staining.
Yeah.
I stained some stuff when we got here just from like rubbing on the trailer, but she literally stained every piece in here. So
Yeah,
She worked her butt off too.
That's the people that don't get the credit, right? Like everybody sees all of us or hears all of us talk or whatever.
If it wasn't for Nace's girlfriend, we wouldn't have tags on our shirts. We wouldn't have a little scanny thing.
Little scanny thing.
Shirts. I'd just be like, give me $35 and it's yours.
30, we call it good. Solid. Let's roll.
Yeah, it's very professional. Like it's amazing me that everything looks so good and is operating the way it should be.
Yeah.
Obviously, we have like little hiccups here and there, but it comes with it comes with the job.
Yeah.
right?
I'm stressed out sometimes when the cameras ain't going
I
right.
love
My
it.
brother-in-law's my guy, so he's on the computer doing this, and I'm standing like above him, like breathing.
He's like, hey, would you back up, please?
He's lucky he's my brother-in-law sometimes. We're out here right now, so I
Yeah.
want to peck him over the head. But.
Yeah.
No, I do like that part of it too because it's funny. I can see him back there just fuming, wondering what's going on, and old Craig's just over there, and Craig's got twice as long as your hair and tatted from head to toe. And we always talk about Craig because when Craig come into this deal, only rodeo he'd ever seen is on TV, and he never knew nothing about it. But Craig only knows the top 20 in the world.
Yeah, he only knows the best.
Yeah.
So, I mean, when you talk heading with Craig, he's like, oh, I got this friend named Eric.
Yeah.
Eric what? Eric Rogers. I mean, you know what I mean? Like, he knows all that. He only knows the top dudes.
That's awesome.
Cool.
Well, tell us how we can, if you're listening, how our listeners can check you guys out.
Man, we're on YouTube. That's our main one, and we have a TikTok,
Spotify.
and we have a
Facebook. Yeah, it's Tolleson-Mack.
Tolleson-Mack,
Everything,
all of it.
Spell that.
TOLLESON Mac. MACK.
Perfect.
Not like a Mac computer, MAC.
No, we got to throw a K on the end there.
So,
All right, guys. Well, thank you.
yeah, well, as you know, if you listen, the way that we end our show is we ask our guests what the first song is that comes to their
Oh,
mind.
yeah.
So-
No, this is.
And we'll be lying if we said we didn't talk about it on the way
We
over
talked
here.
about it. We
You knew
talked
it was
about
coming?
it.
Yeah.
We talked about it on the way. So what? We just start singing or what?
No, you let us.
gotta pick one.
What song you guys
What's
thinking?
the song you're
Dock
thinking?
of the Bay.
Okay.
Otis Redding, Dock of the Bay.
Okay.
Dock of
Otis
the Bay?
Redding.
Dock of the Bay.
Sitting on the dock of the bay.
Yeah.
How do you not know that song? You know like every song, and you don't know.
You
the
don't
good
know
ones.
that? Wait till you hear
He
it.
never knows the good ones.
Once you hear the riff, once you hear it, listen. Ready?
Sitting in the morning sun, I'll be sitting when the evening comes,
Yep.
watching the ships roll in, and then I'll watch them roll away again. Yeah, I'm sitting on the dock of the bay, watching the tide roll away. Ooh, I'm just sitting on the dock of the bay, wasting time.
There you go.
Okay, I know that song. All right.
Oh, yeah. He started singing right away. He's like, oh, yeah, I know
Yeah,
that.
what's I got?
It's actually my ringtone.
Yeah. Well, we appreciate y'all checking in,
All right, thank
sticking
you.
around.
and listening to another episode of the Everything Rodeo Podcast. I want to thank Tolleson-Mack Podcast for sitting down with us and the two Brandons.
On the dock
thank
of
Thanks,
the
guys.
bay, watching the tide roll away. Ooh, I'm sitting on the dock of the bay, wasting time.
These Yoo-hoos are pretty good. You guys ain't sponsored by them yet?
No.
Working on that, huh?